Hi, it's Deborah, and I am 2 days late. Today is Wednesday. As many of you will know that follow me, I missed our Mixed Media Monday this week. That's because I've had a roadblock with my recovery, and I have to have an MRI today to make sure I have not had any mishaps in physical therapy. So today, instead of painting florals, I'm going to complete a fish painting that my grandson started, and I'm going to show it to you now. He started this fish, and he did not complete it because he wasn't happy with the colors. However, I loved the colors, and because I do not know exactly what type fish this was or where he had intended to go with it, I have decided to add my whimsical, colorful touch to it, and I'm going to add a lot of different colors to this fish and make it a unique combination of my style and his. So the first thing I have done is I'm going, and I'm sorry if I don't see your comments or if I can't reply as soon as you come on or you make a statement here, because sometimes my comments are delayed. I don't know what it is with Facebook. Do you guys? Anyway, this is my palette. Let's see if I can do this without it falling down. I just pulled a lot of different colors that I like, and I'll show you what they are. I pulled a Liquitex Gold and, of course, white. I use a lot of white. I probably use more white in my paintings than any other color that I ever use, because you can use it to change the hues of your color. I have a green deep permanent, and I have what I call a chartreuse green. I have a bronze, and I have a primary blue. Those are all from Liquitex. I have not put them on my palette yet because I'm not even sure, honestly, if I'm going to use all these colors. I do know, now his painting started out, I'll show it to you again. His painting started out as an acrylic painting, and I'm going to add watercolor. This is a watercolor combination of Pastel Dreams. That's the name of it. It is available on Amazon, and it's just got a lot of wonderful pastel colors in it. I'm also going to be using a line of classic colors, which are here. And they are a little bit of a mess because I use them pretty often. I love to do watercolor. I don't share it a lot, but it's just very freeing, very loose, and I like that type of painting. I may or may not use this little device to spread the paint across my painting, and I will be using various brushes in the painting. And then I have a collection of different colored pens. I have browns and green, various shades of greens and orange, yellow, and this wonderful green. This is one of my favorite colors of green. And so I'm going to lay those aside, and I'm going to turn the camera down now, and we'll get started on this painting, and we may or may not finish it today, but we're going to work on it today anyway. So if you're ready, well, let's turn you down and get started. And let me see if I can get this there. I hope you can see. And there we go. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to take some, a brush, and I'm going to choose kind of a fairly large size one. This one is an angled brush. And I'm going to put some water on it, and I'm going to spread this water a little bit across my painting. Just going to go ahead and put that on there. And then I'm going to take, these are the pastel line of watercolors, because I'm wanting kind of a light color. And I have two different shades here. I have an Icy Sky and a Lilac Rain. That's the name of these two different colors. And I'm going to try and get my brush as saturated as I can with these two colors. I am mixing them. trying to get as much as I can up into the brush. You see that? How far I'm going up into the brush. And then I'm just going to loosely put this and let it run across this page. Because I have already put some water onto the paper, it's running and it's spreading much faster than it would if I had simply dipped my brush into the paint without adding that water on my paper. And as again, you can see that this, see the side, see the back side of that brush, how much paint I have in there. I'm putting a lot in this on the brush. And then I'm just spreading it onto my paper. And I'm not really doing it up and down, across. I'm just doing it all different motions because, as you know, I enjoy having, allowing lines, the paint brush strokes to show in my paintings. I think it gives your painting more character and more personality and actually a little more depth than if you didn't do that, if you just, you know, dipped your, if you wanted more control. Now you can get more control and I'll show you how. For example, I don't have as much water on my brush this time and I'm really getting a heavier concentration of this icy blue in here. And I'm gonna run it right down alongside of this fish, just like that, which is almost an outline. And then I'm gonna feather out from it. That's going to give me a little bit of depth underneath this fish that I might not have had otherwise. And if I want to make this water a little looser, I dipped my brush into the water and then I'm just spreading it out again. But I still have a faint line right there underneath that fish. This does dry rather quickly, which is good. That's another reason that I like to work with acrylics. It dries pretty quickly. Okay, I still have one little area right up here that I need to add some water. And this time, I still have a little I still have both of these colors in my brush, but I'm only going to dip into the Lilac Rain this time because it is a lighter color. And I'm just wanting to have a little bit of a lighter color because this is up toward the surface of the water and it's going to be lighter because of the sunshine that would come down and affect the water. In fact, if I wanted to, I could even add just a touch of yellow in here. For that reason. I'm going to clean my brush, dip it into this Lilac Rain again, and go over this one more time. I want to spread that yellow out a little more. Then I'm going to come on up to the top. At this point, I'm going to come into more of my classic colors. And as you'll see, there's a little green in here from where I've mixed my colors before. I have a tendency to do that. I probably shouldn't do that. I probably should mix them on paper. But you see what a beautiful color that gave me. It's a little more green than I wanted. But so I did leave a little bit of that green, can you see it, on top of that blue. So I'm dipping my brush again. I'm going to go over this blue again, load up my brush. And I'm going to put it up here across the, this is the sky. I'm not sure what this area is over here in this painting. It could be so many different things. It could be the tail of a larger fish. It could be a rock formation. I really don't know what it is. So we can just use our imagination, and because I didn't draw this painting and I don't know where my grandson was going with it. I'm not sure what that particular thing right there is. So I am just going to add, I'm going to add something to this, and well, let's go ahead and do that. I actually want that sky to be a little lighter. So I'm going to add a little white to my brush. And while this is still just a little damp, there we go. I'm going to add this white to that blue and lighten it up just a tad. There we go. And as you can see, when this is dry, that the water here is lighter than over here. That's perfectly fine. I'm not worried about it at all. In fact, I'm most likely going to come in. You can see over in this area right here and a few other areas, he has like some little drops of blue. And I'm just going to dip my brush in this paint and go ahead and make a few more of these little specks of blue in this water. And I'm just tapping my brush because I've loaded it with this water, and it's making these little marks into the water. Now, to decide what we're going to do with this. This could be anything. It could be something. It could be the bottom of a boat. It could be a rock formation. If this is going to be the sky and this is the water line, it almost seems to me this is something coming out of the water. So I'm just going to create like maybe a rock formation that's come out of there. So let's start that out with a brown. And I'm just going to mix these two different colors of brown here, one on one side, one on the other. And to begin with, I'm just simply going to be getting color down. I'm not really liking this color, I'll tell you right off the bat. So I'm going to put a little bit in there. And then I'm going to come over and grab a darker brown from my primary colors and mix it in there. It's going to change the color, and I'm going to let that run. I'm liking this better already. It needed some depth. It doesn't necessarily have to have any it doesn't have to be a straight line here either. If this is a rock formation coming out, it can move around. I'm gonna bring this down here. Okay. I think that looks a little better. Underneath this brown that I just put on is still that yellowy ochre brown, and so as I drag my brush back across it, it's bringing that to the forefront, which I'm liking. And then I'm going to leave this alone because as it dries, you're going to see those different variations of that color coming forward. Can you see it? Okay, this time I'm going to use a round brush, if I can find one. Here we go. This is a smaller brush. I can no longer see the number on it because I have so much paint on this brush. But I would say it's probably a 4, maybe a 6. And at this time, I'm going to add a little color to this fish. I'm going to add a little color to him. I'm going to make his eye a green. And so I'm going to take this Ecoline brush pen. Ecoline is like a watercolor in a pen. And I'm going to use this for the center of his eye right here. I'm going to go over it several times because I really want it to stand out. These dry very quickly. Then I'm going to take a little color. And let's see, I'm going to add a little orange in here on this fish. I think orange and yellows and browns and this chartreuse green look great with the color brown. Orange and yellow and chartreuse I think are great with brown. So I'm going to come in. You can see there are already some shades of like a rusty color in here on his back. So I'm just going to add just some little dots of this brighter color in here. Not very many, just a few along his back. Maybe along this nose area. Turning my brush this way and that. No particular rationale here. And then I'm going to come right underneath his belly, and I'm going to add the stripe, a little color of orange right here. Bring it on down into the underside of his belly. Now, he has like a beige underbelly here. But I'm going to add a little more depth of yellow. And I'm going to dip it into my brush into the water so that it comes out light. And I'm going to add a little yellow in here. Just going to give him a little bit of a brighter underside. I'm going to mix it with this orange that I have under here. Change that color up a little bit, soften it. And I'm going to change to a different color, yellow. This is a lighter color. This is more of a pastel color. I'm going to add a little stripe right alongside his back. This is a fin right here. I'm going to start it out with a yellow. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of brown in it. Just a little bit. I'm liking that a little bit, so I'm going to come on in here with this yellow, this pastel yellow. I'm going to add to my brush. And I'm going to put that color on the fins. Again, you can see I'm not completely saturating this fin with the yellow. I'm just making marks and leaving some of the white to show. Same thing on the back. And then I'm going to come back in with this brown again. And I'm just going to add a few little swipes here. This brush, I don't know if you can see it, but it's causing little striations in here. Do you see that? Because my brush, if you look at it, it's not completely clumped together. The bristles are not. So as I'm applying the color to this fish, it's leaving open marks, which I'm liking. And it's allowing the yellow to shine through. So I'm going to add some more water to this brown. And I'm going to hopefully do the same thing over here. Now this came out a little heavier because I added more water to my brush, and so the bristles are not open like they were up here. There. On this bottom one down here, I'm just going to go out on a whim, and I'm going to add, where's that color? I'm just going to add a touch of turquoise onto it. No reason except that I just want to see what it'll look like. So on this particular one, I'm going to add a turquoise fan here. There was a brown mark underneath it, and so as I add water, I can smooth out that mark that was on there before and incorporate that brown into this turquoise. And then I'm going to take my yellow once more. And I'm just going to add a little bit of it up here. And let's see if I can do the same thing with this brown. This brown has been laying on here a while. This brown mark is acrylic. Yeah, and I can still smooth it out, even though it's been there for a little while. And I'm going to add just a little bit of that brown there as well. And as you can see, I have overdone it, which I tend to do. And I have brought more color into these fins than I had ever anticipated doing. But that's okay too. To even some of them out, I'm just going to bring that brown up into this fish again. Add a little more depth to this color and let it bleed down into the underbelly just a little bit. This is what he's looking like so far. Let's see, there he is. I'm going to add a little bit of white. around his eye. I could have just left the color of the paper underneath, and it is white, but I always like to add color onto my mixed media paper, even if it's white on top of white. Okay, at this point, he has a little ring right here around between the green and the white circle. There's a little rim of space that's left unpainted there, and I want to do something kind of bright there. I think I'm going to use an orange. I have no idea what this is going to look like because this is kind of bright, but I wanted it to be bright. I want it to be bright. So I'm going to fill that in right there, and I like it. This is actually just a Sharpie. Excuse me. I do use all kinds of different materials as a mixed media artist. And then I'm going to give him a black eyeball, if I can find my black. Here we go. This is a Faber-Castell artist pen. I love these things. You can get them in different widths. This is a bold color. And right in, I'm going to come down just a little bit below the center of this fish. And I'm going to create him an eyeball there. Do you see that? And then right on top of that, I'm going to give him a sparkle in his eye. And if I can find my white pen. Let me look for just 1 second and I'll find it. Well, I can't find it, so here's what we'll do. I'm going to take my white acrylic, put it on my plate, and I'm going to take the back end of one of these very tiny brushes. I'm going to dip it in the paint, and then I'm going to make the mark. And I'm going to just make a tiny little dot there. I do this to almost every eye that I create because I just think it brings your attention to the eye. And it also, to me, it just kind of wakes the eye up. I think he's looking okay. I really wish I had left that, these fins. I didn't have hardly any paint on my brush when I first started doing those, and I wish I had not added more color to them, but it's okay. I can always come back in and use some other colors to make marks within those fins, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add a little yellow. You can barely see it, but it doesn't matter. It'll shine through as it dries. And I'm just going to expand on this color that's barely showing through. Do you see how this is brighter as compared to the yellow over here? I'm just brightening up this fin a little bit because I darkened it without meaning to with the brown. Of course, this fish, I don't think he's supposed to be intended to be a very, very bright and colorful fish anyway. I think he's more of a pond fish, and they tend to be a little darker so they can blend into their environment better. So it's okay that I've made him a little darker here than I'd intended to. I'm just going to add some color in there. I'm liking that better already. Oh, I'm liking this better. I like the brighter colors. Anywhere that I'm seeing some white that hasn't been covered, I'm just coming in with this yellow now, and I'm just adding it to the painting, just to brighten him up a little bit. Okay, I am realizing that I need to give this mouth some attention. So I'm going to come in with the, let's see, I'm going to first come in with this. This is called a chocolate. It's got a little more up here that than I liked, but I'm just of this fish, and I'm bringing it in with a very fine line because I don't want it, I want a lot of color down here on this mouth. I want to bring attention to the mouth, and I don't want it to be so flowy as I did, for example, the water. And I'm going to have to get more water. This is a tiny brush. I'm going to have to load this up. So I've added more water into this watercolor so that I can really load up this color, this brush. There. Much better. I didn't want to have to dry brush this. So if you're wanting a smoother coverage, you're going to have to load your brush up with water as you paint with watercolors. You can see where initially I could barely cover this. I'm now covering the remainder of this mouth and for the most part, the rest of his mouth with this one bit of coverage of paint that I put in onto my brush just by loading it up. And I do love how fast watercolor dries because it allows you to go forward with your painting instead of having to wait for dry time. Okay. That's looking pretty good. I like that. Then I'm going to want to come in here now that I've got a clear definition of his mouth, and I'm going to add maybe a little, let's see, just a little bit of I want to add a little bit of a pink in here. So I'm going to go with a mixture of these two colors. This is a rose and a crimson. Just going to mix them together just like that until I get the color I like. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to add it right here. And because I have a very tiny brush and I have my brush loaded with this color, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get the entire thing put down without having to go in and wet my brush a second time. There. I like that. Oh, he's looking so cute. Okay. And then I think I want to come in here right here, and I want to add some more of this orange color. I'm sorry, some of this orange color that I have right here. I'm going to add a little bit more of that up here toward the front of the fish. And this little section right here. And it's coming off looking a little yellow. So before it dries, I'm going to add this deeper orange. Get some of that on my brush. And mix those two colors together. And then I'm going to come back there. That's more the color. It's not quite as bold, and it blends much better with the color I have down at the end of the fish. Here we go. So I'm going to come back over here, and there's not really a space here for this, but I'm just going to add a little line of color on this side to balance that orange out over here. And I don't think that, in fact, I know, I'm pretty positive that fish do not have a red tongue, but I'm going to give him one anyway. I think my grandson's going to get a kick out of this fish. And I'm going to add just a little bit of brown, just a little bit, to this red, just so it's not so bold. There we go. I'm just going to tone it down just a little bit. And I'm not even completely covering all of the red. I'm letting some of it stay bright. There we go. Another thing that I want to do before I'm finished is I want to add some bubbles onto this picture. So I'm going to use maybe this color. Let's see what that would come out looking like. Oh, that's kind of bright. I think it'll be okay. I'm going to get a lot of water in there. I'm going to make it very bold, and I'm just going to add some little bubbles in here. I'm making a little circle, and I'm allowing some of the paint to stay a heavier color. And some, you see how I left some of this darker and some of it lighter. I'm just going to continue on up, making these bubbles smaller as they go up toward the top of the picture. And I may even put one right here on the fish. All right, while that's drying, I'm going to come up here and do something with this. I'm thinking that maybe this will be like the shoreline. And I think I'm going to use, let's see, I think I'm going to use this white right here. And I'm going to add just a touch of a color called Paradise to it. It's kind of a little bluish minty green color. I'm going to mix it in there with it. And I'm just going to add it right here along the shoreline. This is not a perfectly solid white because this fish is not going to be in an ocean. I'm thinking that he's more so in a pond or a freshwater site. I'm noticing also over here on the tail end of this fish that my grandson had a couple of little bubbles over here already drawn in. So I'm going to draw them in here also. I'm going to make them a little larger. I'm going to add a little white now into each of these bubbles. And then I'm going to take a little more of this blue. I'm going to get my brush really, really wet, saturated with water and paint. Hope I don't drip it. And I'm going to splatter it again. Onto this painting. And I'm really liking that. In fact, I even want some to come up out of the water there. And I really wish that I could find my white. Oh, I can. Here it is. It got put in here. A white Posca pen. I want to take this white Posca pen now, and I want to come in here, and I'm going to just make some little marks around these bubbles, like a C. It's not going to be a complete circle. I'm just going to add a little highlight on them. There, so cute. That looks much better. Really adding a deep mark with this white there. I'm also going to add just a few little marks on his fins. There. I think there just needed to be a little highlighting in here. I'm going to also add a few dots right alongside where I've splattered and up, because white seems to catch light. And then I'm going to use this green that I like so much, that I used for his eyeball. And I'm going to sign the piece. And at some point later, when my grandson is here, I'll also get him to sign the painting as well. And we will have a painting that we've done together. And this is the painting. Anyway, this is the painting. This is the final fish. Hi, Sherry and Pam. I'm so glad to see you here today. And I hope I didn't terribly mess up this fish. My grandson started it. He was unhappy with the brown colors, which I loved, and so he didn't finish. So I would not let him throw it away. I took it and completed it. So there he is, our whimsical, wonderful fish, and I'm going to share it with him today, and I think he'll be excited that I finished it for him, and I think he'll be excited to sign his signature onto it as well, and then we'll have a painting that we shared. I think paintings that you do together with someone else is just sometimes one of the most fun and memorable paintings that you can do. You guys have a wonderful day, and again, I'm sorry that I missed Mixed Media Monday on Monday, but there are a few little hiccups with my recovery, and so I just really couldn't come on Monday, but so happy I got to be here with you today. Bye-bye.